What's up? What is up? So, this morning I have been, of course, driving around trying to do errands. Oh, it's such a difficult thing for me to have some time to myself. I've said it before. I say it in a lot of my videos. I just posted a video up earlier today around 9 o'clock. I try not to post a lot on Friday. I try not to post a lot during the week. I just am just so busy often. Um, But I posted a video earlier today just talking about atheism versus Christianity in response to something someone had posted on one of my live streams that I did the previous day. I did a live stream yesterday. So someone came into the comment section and expressed their concern with me being prejudiced. So I went ahead and responded to that video. And that's the video that I posted today at 9 o'clock. So like I said, I don't usually post on Fridays, so I don't even think anybody checked for that video, honestly, because I think people check more for my videos on Sundays, but I have been starting to pick up the pace as far as posting and doing live streams. Earlier today on Facebook, I did a watch party. I'm doing a lot more with my Facebook page as well because I want that to also be a place where I post content, Facebook Watch and IGTV. So I've been working on that too, and it could be kind of difficult for me, like juggling so many things. So I kind of been like falling off the map. But as I continue to nurture my activism, my women's rights activism, I'm trying to be a little bit more proactive and a little bit more in tune with the things that happen positively as far as women goes. And so earlier today, I was posting like positive things as far as African American women, and I posted the same thing on my community tab. I posted on my community tab earlier today that a single mother had graduated from Harvard University. And so I'm just posting more content on my Facebook page and on my YouTube channel so that this negative perspective of Black women can be fixed. Now, I did say I would discontinue, talking about the controversy as far as African American women go and the negative things and the propaganda and those types of things. I discontinue, just trying to debate with people and instead prefer showing people the positive aspects as far as single mothers and Black women because that's not promoted enough. And Black women are doing so much inside of our country, in the world, and Black women have been extremely just powerful and smart, and we're just good women, and I'm just so tired of seeing so much negativity in regards to us and people being so disrespectful and so derogatory. And so just recently Trevor Noah was on his show and he was talking about some statements that Kanye West had been making on his new album and things that he had said recently in an interview where he spoke about how African American people are brainwashed. And he also Trevor Noah spoke about Black women and how he believed that Black women are not brainwashed and that we are basically a little bit more taking politics more serious because we can't afford to squander our vote. So us voting for whoever we vote for next, we actually take more serious. We are more invested in that. And I believe that to be true because I know for me, next time I vote, I want to make sure that I'm voting for the right person. Like I told people previously when I first saw Kamala Harris, and initially just wanted to vote for her. And now after thinking about it, because initially it was just like, I'm going to vote for this woman because number one, she's African American. Number two, she's a woman. And I remember when I voted for Barack Obama, my mother kind of pressured me to vote for Barack Obama. And um, because I believe that a lot of people were voting for Barack Obama simply because he was a Black man. And that's good enough of a reason, but you don't want to necessarily get the wrong candidate in office either, because that's basically what happened with Donald Trump. Now, I didn't vote for Donald Trump, of course, but I felt like we didn't have enough candidates to choose from when, it was time to, vote for president. You had Hillary Clinton. I think we had Bernie Sanders, right? These are people that we could have voted for, but at the end of the day, who we ended up voting for, who part of this country ended up voting for, it, anyway, so as a Black woman, I feel like just next time with my vote, I want to make sure that I put it in the right place and it goes in the right areas. It's real dusty out here. Let me roll up my window. It's like dusty. Okay, it's like I think they're like mowing or something like that. And so anyway, so Trevor Noah was basically defending us. Just saying, that he didn't feel like black women were brainwashed. And so I posted Trevor Noah's clip onto my YouTube, not my YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and of course, I was expecting people to comment as usual. Like if you go to my Facebook page, I just activated again because it was deactivated at first. I had my fan page up, of course, but my personal page, I had deactivated it and took a break from it. And just recently, I was like, you know what? I got a lot of my graphic design clients from my Facebook page, so I decided to post my Facebook page up back up, and I'm using it to post like positive articles and stuff about moms, about black women, because of course I'm single mom life right now. I'm about promoting positivity and uplifting women, empowering women, womenism. That's what I'm doing. So as I'm changing the course of my life and doing, something that I feel more comfortable with doing, and I'm just posting, these nice little, articles about black women, and I'm hoping that people that do support black women come into the comment section and say something, conducive or productive or, positive. But of course, it's always going to be somebody somewhere that's saying something ridiculous. And so as I posted this clip, not this clip, this article of Trevor Noah talking about Kanye West and how, he felt like black women aren't brainwashed, of course some weird guy comes into the comment section and says something about perms. Now here's my thing. When I say one thing doesn't have anything to do with another, like what does it have to do with the price of tea in China? This is one of the examples. Like we're talking around talking about perm. And to me, it just seems like anytime a black woman tries to do something logical or intellectual or something that could be socially, um, I don't know, uplifting, or maybe we're doing something politically correct or doing something as far as our education goes or anything like that, somehow something that has to do with how we take care of our physical appearance or maybe a failed relationship we were in, all of this stuff starts to be thrown at us in that way. And it's unfortunate that men do this. So first he said something about perm. Then he said something about all of the women who are on Kanye West's payroll as far as Sunday service goes. How many black women support him? Now, we know that Kanye West, 9 times out of 10, has a multicultural staff, or honestly, I would think he had more white people working with him than anything, because of right now the way that he feels towards black people and how he expresses himself as far as black people goes. To me, I think Kanye is surrounded about around a whole bunch of non-black people. Kanye West, since his mother died, I don't know what's going on with him. Honestly, I really don't. But Kanye West, to me, is in need of some type of black, I don't know, leadership, because I want one thing I want Kanye West to stop forgetting is that, number one, he used to be the rapper that would go around and degrade women. Okay, but Kanye West has always been political. He's always said, stuff that make you think. But the stuff that he complains about as far as rappers rapping about cars and money and women, these are things that West used to do. And of course, he's seemingly making this transition into being whatever it is that he's being. When he starts talking about and whether black people should be Democrats or Republicans, the way that he sounds, it sounds more like he's brainwashed than black people are. Now, of course, black people, we have a lot of issues as far as when we're dealing with each other, of course, and I've said it on my channel plenty of times. I said I don't like living in predominantly black areas because I don't like the way that black people each other and how black people treat each other. We don't have a level of respect for each other. It's so derogatory when we're dealing with each other, especially when I see black men dealing with black women. The way that men are inside of these relationships, trying to break fly, they're promiscuous, they're abandoning women with children. Then you got women out here who think, black women who think thought culture is something to be, or like this crap with April and Fizz from Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. If anybody thinks that this relationship between April and Fizz is something cute, and how April is so disrespectful to the father of her child, Omarion. Any woman who is out here celebrating that, there's something going with you. Any woman who is out here talking about they want to live this hot girl summer, and hot girl summer is an empowerment anthem, and all this foolishness that I see a lot of black women, um, celebrate. I want to discontinue perpetuating that that's something okay to celebrate. But at the same time, I'm not going to be degrading and disrespectful towards my women. I mean, I've made mistakes. I'm not a perfect woman either. I had to go through a learning process to understand what kind of woman I wanted to be, or what kind of woman that I wanted to portray myself to be, or depict myself to be, in order to help younger women. Because even when I look back at like my own modeling career, like when I was modeling lingerie, when I think about when I was doing it, how much I hated it the whole time, and nothing in me said, what, Soncerae, maybe you shouldn't be doing this because this is a horrible depiction of what a black woman should be. I was thinking to myself, this specific thing, me modeling in lingerie, is something that's going to get me to another level within my career. It's going to put me on another platform to where I can do the things that I want to do inside of the entertainment industry. So during that time, I wasn't necessarily thinking about how my actions would impact another woman. And it wasn't until time, like after I had been doing it for 6 years, and I started to see so many women who felt comfortable with being around me, or who wanted to be like me, or women who were sending me emails, and they were like just very in tune with what I was doing, and how I was living my life. And then I ended up pregnant with my son, and I got all of these emails from a whole bunch of single mothers, and women were very supportive, especially on Facebook. Like, of course, I don't see a lot of support here on YouTube, because for some reason is one of those very detrimental places for African American women. Like, this is one of the platforms where you got men who are red pilling it. We got the incel men. We got the um, men who are out here who the entire reason why they post videos to begin with is just to complain about the black women that they chose, the poor choices in men, and women that they chose. And like I said before in a lot of previous videos, a lot of the time men can only talk about their environment, you know because if they don't step outside of their environment and be around another type of woman or another type of person, they're not going to be able to have any type of positive, outlook on the type of, woman that I see. Or when I look in the mirror and the type of woman that I see I am, I'm not surrounded by poverty. I'm not living in the ghetto. I'm not somewhere in a corner. Um, on the corner, prostituting, and that's just not the environment that I see. And it was never the environment that I see. And a lot of times, a lot of these men that I see on YouTube who have all of these negative things to say about women, their environment isn't multicultural. Listen, women that live in the hood or women that are ghetto are very different from women who live in multicultural neighborhoods. And we're just talking about black women here. Black women who live in multicultural neighborhoods, or live outside of the hood, are very different women from women who have been raised in the hood and ghetto. And to me, my thing is, even the women that have been raised in the ghetto, or women who are living in poverty, I still think that it's unfortunate that it's men out there who chastise these women for being ratchet. Because a lot of times this ratchet stuff that they doing, they don't know. They don't know no better. So to me, it's like, you can't sit here and judge a whole bunch of injured ass people. All you can do is teach. And so as I'm sitting here and I'm seeing these men say all of these negative things, instead of me getting angry or feeling like I have to defend myself, I just rather show depictions of more positive women. And that's what I've been doing. And I've been having to cancel any man who feels like every time I post something positive, turn around and post something negative about something that has nothing to do with the topic at hand. Just like I was talking about with Trevor Noah and Kanye West. I'm sitting here and I'm talking about this, and here comes a man talking about perm. And I'm thinking, this shit right here is like, I just wish that more African American men thought more positively. And this man, actually, inside of the main picture, was a picture of him and another black woman, and she was wearing braids. And I was thinking to myself, Listen, you got a black woman on your arm. It's a black woman in your main pick, and you're sitting here disrespecting black women like it's nothing when you got a black woman on your arm. As black women, we have to start requiring that these men have a level of respect for us, not just for when they talk about a specific kind of woman, but to talk about us in general. Because when they talk about us in general, it's different types of black women. But for some reason, society isn't picking up on the fact that there are different types. They're just assuming all black women are one way, and that's the problem that I'm seeing when I'm dealing with people just online. And I do want to be clear that a lot of the issues that I see um, online, I wasn't necessarily seeing in my regular everyday life. Like, I would get onto YouTube and I would see these men complaining about all of the things that's happening inside of the black community as far as black women go. And then I would go into my own community and I would look around me and I would see single mothers who were educated. I would see single mothers who had jobs. And I think it's because of the neighborhoods that I lived in. I wasn't raised around, or had I seen a whole bunch of women who were ratchet and living in poverty. Doesn't mean that they didn't exist, just means that I didn't get to see. I didn't see it. So I'm not saying that the points that a lot of these men are making, as far as when they speak of negatively of black women, I'm not saying they don't have valid points. I'm not saying that what they're saying isn't true. What I am saying is there's a small percentage of black women that behave that way. Then you have a whole nother set of black women who behave in a completely different way. And these are the women that we need to start displaying more and celebrating more, so other women who are not like that can want to be like that. Because like I said a minute ago, when we were talking about thought culture, a lot of these women, when a lot of these young girls and these young ladies, when they see the Meg the Stallions of the world, and they see the Cardi B's, and they see the City Girls, and they see the Nicki Minaj's and the Little Kims, these are the women that they're looking for and looking at and classifying as leaders and women to emulate. So of course they're gonna think, well, I gotta dress sexy, I gotta, wear lace fronts, I gotta wear red bottoms, I gotta go out here and be a rapper or be a stripper or be a porn star or be inside of the sex industry in order for me to be able to make some money. When the truth is, you could be a scientist, you could be a doctor, you could be a politician, you could be a pilot, you can be a whole bunch of things and be financially in a good place. You don't have to do those things and want that clout and fame and celebrity so bad that you're out here doing whatever you can just to get the attention of people that aren't necessarily going to mean much in the grand scheme of things as far as your life goes. As far as you planning your life, when the Meg the Stallions and the Cardi B's and the Nicki Minaj's of the world graduate from that way of living, or they try to live a different life to where like my Nicki Minaj right now is retiring and she wants to live this regular life as a married woman and have children. A lot of the times your children are affected by the way that you live and the choices that you make and what you're doing with your life while you're young. So sometimes I think about how children would be affected, how the girls would be affected. Like, for instance, when Cardi B just got mad recently when she was on Instagram, she got upset because someone was saying that someone else was, her daughter was calling somebody else mommy. She was feeling some type of way about that, and then she got on social media and had like this explosion. And you're thinking to yourself, I know I was thinking to myself, as somebody's mom now, right? As somebody's mom, and I'm looking at this because I have a son now. My son is 18 months, 17 months, something like that. So, 1 years old. Okay. So when I think about how I carry myself, would I want my son to see me that way? That's what I think about now. Would I want my son to see me that way? And my son doesn't have both of his parents. He just has me as mom. So do I want to behave this way and have him thinking that this is how women should act? Or if my son was older, right? Let's say my son was 18 and he decided to come home and bring a girl home and she was acting like that. If she was acting like Cardi B, I would be embarrassed for my son. You see what I'm saying? And I think about stuff like that. So what I've been trying to do is be a little bit more showing the positive stories about black women so more women can see this and more women can be encouraged to be this. That's the problem with black women. Young black girls, they don't have a lot of positive role models. And I think for a long time, a lot of people may have thought while I was doing my YouTube videos that for some reason I didn't care about black women. It wasn't that, it was more of I felt like if I could get in tune with the black men and get black men to treat us a lot better inside of our relationships, we could have better families, healthier families. We could unify if we could get both genders to change their behavior and improve. And what I posted today on Facebook as I was canceling black men who disrespect women, because I was saying like, if I could sit here and I can change my behavior to be more respectful towards a black man because I understand what he's going through as a man, I deserve for a black man to also do that to me. So if I feel like you are being disrespectful towards black women, I'm just going to block and delete you and keep moving and not have you in my life at all. And I want more black women to be that way. Stop accepting disrespect even when you see men disrespect other women. Because a lot of women will be like, well, he ain't doing it to me. He not talking about me. He only talking about a specific type of woman. Nah, that shit don't matter. Because in the grand scheme of things, when a person from the outside is looking in, all they hear is this man talking about black women, not specific types of women. Because people who are outside of our culture don't understand. They don't get it. They don't get it. So how we depict ourselves and how we treat each other and our behavior grants us a lot more respect from other races of people. And what I understand about black men is that black men want to be on the same playing field as men of other races. And a lot of times black men don't get the respect that men of other races do. And the reason why is because black men just simply do not have the discipline. They do not show the level of respect for their women as other men from other races do. Okay, now don't get it twisted. It's disrespectful men of all races. It's men out there who are mean, who are ugly, who are cruel. They're out there, and that's why I don't like for people to like black women to encourage other black women to date outside of their race simply because a non-black man is a better person to procreate with because he has more money or he has a better career or he has blah blah blah. He's a superior race. No, like why is a black woman out here teaching other black women that this shit is ridiculous? Like it's okay for you to date outside of your race if that's what you want, but don't on another race simply to support your decision to date outside your race. Like that's some bullshit. I just don't like the way I see black people treating each other, and it's like depleting our race. Really, just how we treat each other, the choices that we make as far as each other goes. And I'm a black woman and I simply am just tired of seeing a lot of disrespect. And instead of me sitting here debating with a whole bunch of just gonna be flat out disrespectful to begin with, I'd rather put out my energy and put all my energy into posting black women in a more positive light. And I appreciate anyone, who comes into my comment section and respects that, because a lot of people are not respecting that, and I'm having just men, and I'm having to block and delete and all this types of stuff that I ain't even trying to do. You know what I mean? Like I don't be wanting to delete people, but people be so disrespectful, and a lot of people think that social media is real life, and that's why I want to just be a little bit more positive when I depict myself, and when I show people um, how black women are. And when I say depiction, I don't mean it's a false definition or anything like that. I just mean, it's important that black women start showing more positive images of them. Like me and my mother were talking about how I posted the video about me carving pumpkins with my kids, and how that's not interesting to a lot of people, because a lot of people don't want to see me carving pumpkins with my kids. They want to see me arguing with other people on YouTube. Like I saw someone tell me one time that seeing YouTubers go back and forth with each other is like watching a WWE fight, and it's entertaining. So it's just unfortunate that a lot of people want to see that instead of seeing uh, black women uplifted, or seeing me actually be a good mom. More people would be more entertained if I was a shitty mother. Like if someone posted a clip of me being a shitty mom, or if someone started talking about, oh, Soncerae's a shitty mother because she's this and because she's that, people will watch that. But to see me sit down and carve pumpkins with my kids, it's just not entertaining to a lot of people. It's too positive for them. They can't handle that. It's boring, you know? Positivity seems to be boring to a lot of people. A lot of people love the drama, they love the controversy. And like I said before in my live stream yesterday, I don't care if I get 200 views on a video. As long as I got my peace of mind with those 200 views, I'd rather have that than 10,000 views and the drama associated with it. Because I'm telling you, when I was getting 10,000 views in a day and all of this foolishness, at the same time, I still had all of this hate mail. People coming to me saying something negative about my skin color, about my relationship status, about my gender, all types of just foolishness. And it was all coming from black men. And then people wonder why instead of me continuing to make content for black men, I just switched it all together and decided, you know what? Instead of me encouraging black men to do better, I'm just going to show how much I've improved and also encourage women to be smarter, be better, and improve. That's all I can do. And if I lose my audience because of that, so be it. I need to do this and have peace of mind for me and show black women that there is a positive place for them on the internet if they don't see it in certain areas and on YouTube. There is a positive place for you to come on YouTube where you won't be chastised, where you won't be drugged, where you won't be made fun of because of your hair. Because, shit like that. And there's plenty of other channels out here that's like that. I just want to be a part of those channels as well. No, I'm not going to sit here and talk about race and politics all of the time because honestly, I feel like those are sensitive topics. Those are controversial topics. People feel so strongly about those, and those create debate inside of my comment section. Just like I said earlier, I was talking about race. Not race. I was talking about religion yesterday. I was talking about how single mothers go to the church looking for help. And I said, which is not a bad thing. I said that I would choose Christians over atheists all day. And somebody who was atheist got upset inside of my comment section as if talking to me or watching my content, they haven't realized that much a believer of God. I'm very much a believer in a higher power. So of course I'm going to feel comfortable with someone else who believes in a higher power as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. But instead of this atheist person realizing that, they just decided to call me prejudiced. Like, are you going to be prejudiced against atheist people? Well, I think it's kind of strange that you don't have respect for a higher power. I can't respect someone who doesn't have a respect for a higher power. My experience has shown me that people who don't have faith in a higher power are harder to deal with. So this person was saying, well, people who have a belief in a higher power, Christians, they're hard to deal with. And I'm like, okay, well, we can just agree to disagree. I don't have to hate you, though. And that's what I want a lot of black men to understand. Like, you don't have to like ratchet women. You don't have to date single mothers. You don't have to like women who wear weave. You don't have to like when women perm their hair. Go find you a woman that doesn't do that. Because there's women out there that don't do that. But instead of me, and I said this many years ago, when I first started seeing a whole bunch of black men make a whole bunch of negative content about women on social media, I was saying this years ago. Like, to sit around every day and complain about the type of woman you don't want to be with, the type of woman you don't like to date, the type of woman that you think shouldn't procreate. The only thing that you can do as a person is just not procreate with those people. Just not get into a relationship with those people. But to try to encourage other people to also not date those other people or procreate with those other people is wrong. It's wrong. It's flat out wrong. That's like me telling people, hey, you know what? Don't date an atheist. Don't do it. And that would be the message on my entire channel. No atheists. Don't date atheists. That's not going to be my channel. Listen, you want to date somebody that's atheist? That's your problem. That's your point. I mean, that's the shit that you got to deal with. That's my point. I want to date someone who has faith in a higher power, but I'm not going to sit up here and make my entire channel based around why people shouldn't date atheists. You understand? So I just want more people to be more open to the diversity and the choices other people make as far as their life goes, regardless to what they choose. It's all about accepting each other and respecting each other's space. If you don't want certain things happening to you, or if you don't want to deal with certain types of people, that's fine. But to create an entire platform based on like disrespecting another person or what they're doing, that shit's some bullshit to me. And so what my platform is going to be about is, number one, supporting single mothers, of course, because I'm a single mother. And as much as I despise the idea of a baby mama, like as much as I've despised the concept of a woman being abandoned with a child by herself, having to take care of a child alone, as much as I've just been like, listen, if you're going to start a family with someone, the least that you could do is get married to that person. But then again, you got to be careful because marriage is not going to save you. But listen, get married if you're going to have a family. I've promoted polyamory. I was polyamorous before in my life, right? Everybody knows this. I was polyamorous before. I never would have been polyamorous and had a child in a polyamorous relationship, because I feel like that's when more complication comes into play. So for me, if you're going to start a family with someone, at least try to have some type of commitment, long-term commitment with them first. That's my thing, whether it's marriage or not. I mean, you two could just have an understanding, a long-term understanding. Whatever it is, just make sure that you can commit to each other and respect each other as man, as woman, as mother and father, so that a human being created can live in a healthy environment. That's all I've been pushing on my channel for so many years. Healthy environment, improving, positivity, and still somehow some people have found a way to turn that into something negative, and I don't know why. But what I'm going to do is continue to keep saying what I'm saying and pushing a positive message. This young lady named Princess Johnson from the Post. I want to say this before I get off. This young lady from the New York Post contacted me and wanted to do an interview. Her name is Princess Johnson. And she's an editorial assistant at the New York Post. And so she wanted to do a story about me dating Priest, right? Now, my thing is, it's so much content out there of me and my son's father, and me and the concept of me being a single mother. And, it's just so much content. And she wanted to do an over the phone interview. And to me, I don't want to do interviews, right? I think when she said New York Post, I was like, okay, I'll do it. I'll do an interview. But then I thought about it because the New York Post is a tabloid, and I don't want for me to be, I don't know, I don't want to be exploited in a way to where my story is looked at or warped into something I don't want it to be warped into, when everyone knows that my story, I tell it to help other women. So I don't want to be in a tabloid where I'm talking about me, my son, and my son's father. Because whether me and Priest are together or not, I still classify him as family as far as when I'm dealing with my son. Like, I cannot just be disrespectful in that way, doing something like doing a YouTube video versus me getting on somebody else's platform, being interviewed. That's two different things to me. I don't know why, it just is. And I was like, I gotta be careful with this New York Post stuff. So I said to her, you can look at my playlist. I'll give you some other videos that you can watch. And if you want to send me some written questions, I'll be able to answer those questions. But I'm not gonna do over the phone interviews for the New York Post. It's a tabloid. I'm not gonna get onto a tabloid and talk about my son and his father. I'm just not gonna do it. Like, I've done it on my channel, but I just feel like I need a healthier news source. And I don't think that my son's father would have the same respect for me. You know, I think he would have, if somebody would have come to him with a tabloid, he would have went to the tabloid with his lies. Me, I feel like I want to go to a reputable news source. If they want to interview me about my story with my son's father, it can't be like the Inquirer, the New York Post, people that are going to exploit me. I need to be around, I need to do interviews with people who have editorial like ethic. They have to have some type of work ethic, and they have integrity. And to me, sometimes I feel like the New York Post doesn't necessarily have the integrity associated with what I want as far as pushing my story forward. I don't want any of my family members continuing to be harassed by people online because other people have warped my story. So it seemed to me like it would make the situation worse if I was allowed to be interviewed, you know, on the New York Post. It's because it's the New York Post. Like, because I had to think about it, and I've been thinking about it for 3 days. Like, she asked me this on Monday, I think. I think it was Monday when she asked me to do the New York Post, and I said, doing an interview, I don't really do interviews a lot with my son's father. And a lot of people ask me to do interviews all the time. They ask me to do radio interviews, TV interviews. And I just don't want the story to be shown to women. Meanwhile, women who are going through a similar experience get even more uncomfortable about sharing their experience, or get even more uncomfortable about making the poor choice that they did. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't, that's not what I want my story to represent. I want my story between me, my son, and his father to be a representation of a bad choice that a woman made, the good that came out of it, and how to stop other women from making this choice, and chastise who made the choice is not going to get women to stop making the choice. Okay? Like, I don't feel like you should kick down an injured person or beat conformity out of someone, or getting someone to comply to something. I don't think you should put fear in their heart, or something like that. I just feel like all relationships, whether you're married to someone, separated from someone, in a relationship with someone, they're all different, and you can get a different outcome out of all of it. There are some separated people out there who, they were separated and they dated someone, and now they're remarried to that person that they were dating while they were separated. So I don't want them there to be this negative connotation on top of separated people dating, other people, because some people just genuinely want to move on from their previous marriage. I want people to understand that the reason why my son's father and I are the way that we are, is simply because he just didn't want to be in a relationship. Not that he wanted to get back with his ex. Not that there was something that I did to him. Not that there was something that his estranged wife did to him. This was something that he chose for him as a man. He chose to abandon his child. He chose to date while he was separated. Okay? He chose to promise me that he wanted to get married and have kids. That's how we ended up in the situation that we got in. And I want women to see men who are separated and be very, very precautious, even if it seems like their relationship is over. And it doesn't matter what color you are. Even if you see that their relationship is over, even if you got this estranged wife telling you that their relationship is over, please be precautious. Because even there's some people out there that think it's common sense to be precautious when you're dating someone who is separated. But then, like I said a minute ago, there are people who were separated who started dating, and then they ended up marrying the person that they dated while they were separated. That happens, like, often. It isn't like unheard of. So I don't want people thinking, I don't want the story of, oh, I was this mistress, and I was hiding my relationship from the public, and I tricked a man into pregnancies because he promised me he was going to marry me, and all of this weird, like, negative shit that's like false that people like to put on top of a story because it's dramatic. I didn't want that story in the New York Post. I just felt like that would have been a terrible way to depict me and my son's father and my son. I just didn't want it. So I was like, I got to think about this. And I also thought about my race. I think that the girl, that the editorial assistant that contacted me that wanted to do the interview, I think she was African American. I'm not sure. Her name was Princess Johnson, so I doubt very seriously if Princess Johnson would be a white person. But then again, that could be an alias. I don't know. Listen, when you dealing with damn reporters and stuff like that, you got to be real careful. That's why I was like, I don't know about this. But I figure if somebody wants to write something about me, they can use the content that's already posted up about me. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's the New York Post. The New York Inquirer is a different thing, but the New York Inquirer is a tabloid. The New York Post is also a tabloid. So that's what you have to understand. And the New York Post also has a lot of controversy attached to it as well. So while I'm sitting here trying to keep my peace, trying to stay away from controversy, do I want to do an interview with the New York Post? Stuff that you have to think about, like, when you do what I do. Like, people think I'm walking around here being a regular person. I'm not a regular person. I am a person that is influential. I'm a women's rights activist. I'm an entrepreneur. I just was homeless a minute ago and found out the way to get stable in under a year. And a lot of people find that very interesting. I've had people who found out that I did this right in my real life. I'll be sitting down and I'll have a conversation with someone, and I'm like, yo, the way that I ended up in California is that some interesting shit. And they're like, why don't you do a video about it? I'm like, honey, my entire channel is about how I was homeless and then ended up becoming, like, stable. And still people discredited my own race of people, discredited. Meanwhile, I got all these non-black people like, oh my God, I can't believe that you gave up everything in Georgia, moved clear across to the other side of the country, pregnant with no money, and then suddenly you living how you living in this little bit of time. Like you living this stable life. And I'm like, man, you don't understand how difficult, how hard that shit was. But I did it. And so I got people wanting to interview me because of that. I just got to be careful with it because I got to think about my race. I got to think about my son. I got to think about his father, you know? But I do want African American women to be more respectful of men and understand their walk in life. And I also, most importantly, want men to be more respectful of women because the history of how black men have treated black women has been terrible. And I want all women to cancel any man who is walking around here saying something negative about black women. Because you can say something, we all been disrespected. Okay, let's put this out there. We've all been disrespected in some type of way. Someone has disrespected us somewhere, regardless to our color, race, gender, economic status. We have been disrespected by at least one person in our entire life. So we know what disrespect is. But when we're talking about women, we're talking about black women. Black women have been disrespected more than any other woman in the world. Okay? Any other, I mean, just publicly, just blatantly disrespected. Now, we're not talking about how women are disrespected in like Dubai. No, like Saudi Arabia. You know, Saudi Arabia, women are treated like second class citizens here. Okay? We fight for those rights for, well, in Saudi Arabia, you have activists fighting for those women. And here I am in America, and I'm an activist for the women here, especially the black women here. Okay, I'm an advocate for domestic violence, and I'm an activist, a women's rights activist. And so, of course, I want to see, and during this, let me just say this because I don't want to ramble on and get you confused. Just because I am supportive of women doesn't mean I hate men. And this is what I need people to understand. You don't have to hate one thing to support another. Now, of course, I say certain things you got to pick a side. Like if you see two enemies, you might want to pick a side because they fighting. But I don't think that men and women should be fighting each other. We're both human beings. So just because I'm supportive of women and women's rights doesn't mean I think that men should be chastised and beat down and enslaved. Like when I decided to do a video about the matriarch, a lot of people think that a matriarchy is like the Amazons where Wonder Woman came from, where they enslaved men and treated them bad. No, matriarchy is a place where men are actually living in euphoria because most of the men don't have any responsibilities. All of the responsibilities are, given to the women. Women are out here running things, but just because women are out here running things doesn't mean that men are enslaved and poorly, like they lack any type of intellectual anything or power to do anything. No, in matriarchal societies, a lot of times men and their specific attributes are praised and promoted, and they have a different set of, um, talents and stuff. Like women, we are good at certain things, and men are good at a different set of things. And that's being in a matriarchal society is about. Men are just praised for a better thing. Um, Being pro black woman is important because right now we need support the most. I agree. Genesis, I agree with that. Off the grid, you said you were Cherokee Indian. Is that on your mother or father's side? That's on my mom's side. Um, I had a few women disrespect me in the past. Most women respect me. Yeah, I think most women are very, very respectful for the most part. But that's what I want to encourage more women to do, to be a little bit more respectful towards everybody, to themselves, to men. And I expect for men to start being a little bit more respectful to us. You know, the men had it the best in matriarchy. They're protectors. Yeah, men in a matriarchy, they're protecting. But they I think a lot of American men or men who are raised in a patriarchal society, they feel like if they don't have control over the household, then that makes them less of a man. In a matriarchal society, that's not how men are viewed. Men aren't looked at as less than simply because they don't run the household. No, they're just looked at in a different way. Like they're looked at as protectors. They're looked at as people like a man inside of a matriarchal society can build a house. Put it like that, and a woman will respect the fact that he can build one. So it's not that men are looked at and should be controlled in a matriarchal society. Simply because a household is ran by a woman doesn't mean that the household is going to go down the drain. It's almost like people want women to believe that they're completely incompetent if a woman's not around. If a man is not around, I don't completely lose my mind simply because a man isn't around. No, I'm still smart. I'm still, motivated. I'm still determined. I still can go out here and accomplish things. I'll find a way to accomplish it if it's something that only a man could do. Like sometimes because of a man's physical strength, there's something that he could do that I can't. But I'll find a way to get this done. I get my ass on a ladder if I'm too short. Like even with my house right now, if I need someone to come cut my grass or do my lawns, or I don't know, like right now in one of my homes, the garage door isn't working. The garage won't go all the way up. Like it keeps stopping in the middle. It wasn't doing that before, but now it's doing it. So it's like now I gotta call somebody over to come fix the garage. And at first I couldn't even reach the manual release because it was so high. I was like, I can't reach this. It's too high. I just can't do it. But even with my mother decided instead of her waiting for a man to come and fix uh, the garage door, she stood on top of like this paint thing and pressed it herself. So women, we figure it out. We don't just lay around and die simply because a man isn't around. When you are an activist for women's rights, to me, it's not feminism. Like there's a difference between being an activist for women's rights versus being a feminist. A lot of time when I look at feminism, I don't like it. Like my daughter, she hates feminism, and the reason why she hates feminism is because it's to the extreme of they feel like they gotta hate men. I don't have to hate men to be a feminist. Or I don't have to. I'm not even gonna say that. I don't have to be. I don't have to hate men in order to support women. You see what I'm saying? Like I just support women. It's not that I hate men. Like I men do, but I sometimes don't like the way that men disable women or enable women. You guys try to paralyze women or get us to not have as much power as you do. It's okay for us to have as much power as you do, you know. But at the same time, what men need to understand is, and women, we will never be equal. I don't care how many equal rights we try to get. We'll never be equal because we're in two different types of ways. We come with two different types of things going on. We are biologically just too different. We're not going to be able to be equal. It's just not going to work. But I think for most women, women just want equal pay. We want the opportunity to be, who we want to be. Blah 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 blah. You know, who's ever is in here saying feminism is not the hatred of men, that's misogyny. It's not the same. Well, I wish more feminists would stop complaining so much about men. They're projecting like this. If okay, put it like this. Majority of the people in society believe that feminism is about women hating men. In order for that to stop happening, feminists have got to stop making it seem like in order for a person to be feminist, they gotta hate men. Majority of society has a wrong definition of feminists if in fact you're saying that in order to be feminist it's okay to like men. It's the same thing with like people say feminists can't be male, and there's men out here that's feminists, but society will say no real man could be feminist because no real man would support you know feminism. People actually say that. Do I believe that to be true? No. But people actually say it. But the reason why me and my daughter kind of got a negative like feeling towards feminism is because every time we see a feminist, it's like she gotta hate a man. Like how people are like trying to make it seem like feminists are all lesbians. You know what I mean? It's like weird. It's like when you see it, like look on YouTube. And that's where my daughter was looking at it at. She was like, I hate watching feminist videos on YouTube because people who are feminists on here act really like strange. You know what I mean? Um, you enjoy the perks of equality but bash feminism. Who is this idiot, LCM, where I just said men and women are equal? Like, was you listening? Like, don't come here trolling with your fake profiles and junk. All this, I'm supportive of feminism. Just that's why people are annoyed by feminists, because you come in here with this dumb shit. Like, listen to what's being said. Listen to what's being said. I said men and women are not equal. This is never going to happen. I'm not going to sit here and enjoy the perks of equal rights. We're not equal. We're never going. I don't care how hard women fight to be equal to men. It's never going to happen. I don't see that because we're just too different. We're different, and I'm okay with the differences. I don't care. But my thing is, what makes me uncomfortable with feminism, the reason why I don't like it, is because every time I see a feminist and they're speaking their message, it's always so aggressive, and it's just annoying. Like, over aggressive and encouraging women to hate men. And of course, it's feminists out there who are not like that. But we don't even get to see them because the aggression of all of these other fake feminists out here. It's like, I don't know why people are trying to act like they ain't never seen the faux feminists before that's walking around here just bashing the fuck out of men. Like, people could see me say something negative about a man and just automatically assume me as a male basher. I've heard men say that before. Whenever I say a man does something negative, or I don't like how a man has done something, they're like, "Oh no, she's bashing men." No, it's just I don't like some shit that they've done. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm not upset, LCM. You're annoying. And this is the shit. Like, it start getting overwhelming in my chat to where you posting back to back to back to back to back and you not listening to what's being said. That's when it gets annoying. It gets weird. It's like, stop. Of course I'm getting angry. This shit is blowing me. Okay, anyway, the same way the racist white woman treats the black man is the same way that the black man treats the black woman. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I would have to think about that somewhere. I don't classify Michelle Obama as a feminist. I wouldn't know. People say Michelle Obama is a feminist. I've never heard. I would have to do more research on Michelle Obama, because I wouldn't classify Michelle Obama as a feminist. Womanist, yes. Womanism and feminism are two different things to me. Thank you, show enough. Listen, when you come into my chat, don't be overbearing, because that's what is kind of annoying. Like, I can tell I'm dealing with a troll because they become over speak to me. Don't be overbearing and over posting, because it's other people in the chat and I want to be able to see them talk as well. Okay. I saw someone. No, I'm not. I saw someone ask me about my Tesla. Does it look like I'm in my Tesla? Does it look around you? Does it look like I'm in my Tesla? Was it show enough? Was LCM the person that asked me was I in my Tesla, or was that the chosen one? Either way, someone's asking me, am I in my Tesla to be funny? Does it look like I'm in my Tesla? No, I'm not. I'm in my regular economy car. What the fuck is that? Anyway, we are not inferior to men. Men used to control the physical realm. Females control the metaphysical realm. This knowledge was lost in the previous cycle. Okay, I like that perspective, Genesis. I like that perspective. That perspective. Um, that's a good way to say that. Anyway, don't this live stream isn't about Teslas. Okay, this live stream is not about Teslas. This is about womanism. Don't come in here talking about Teslas or where I live or my finances or whatever other stab trolls be trying to take at me. Don't do it. That's not what we're here to talk about. Keep the conversation on the topic, and you won't get blocked by a moderator. Just say what you think as far as the topic goes. And this is another thing that I said about the video that I posted earlier, where people, I guess if they disagree with someone, it starts to become where people start insulting people and stuff like that. Nah, it's okay for you to disagree. Like me disagreeing with somebody saying that Michelle Obama is a feminist. I disagree with that, but I think I need to do more research before I sit here and talk about that. But anyway, so I think that any person who says something negative about a black woman because of her race or because of a stereotype associated with it, whether the stereotype is true about that specific woman or not, I think men should be canceled. regardless to whether, because I don't think injured people should be kicked down. I don't think injured people, like when I was homeless, I didn't think that somebody making fun of me for being homeless was fair, because it's a lot of people out there who have experienced hardships in their lives, and a lot of times they can't admit it. Like, I got a friend out here who, she was talking to me about how transparent I've been about stories about me being in a swingers lifestyle, and how I worked at the escort service as a madam. And no, I've never been a prostitute. Let me repeat that. Never had to sell my body. Never been a prostitute. Um, I've never been a stripper either. So, um, my friend was saying to me how I had always been so transparent with people about my life, and how that made a lot of people feel uncomfortable. And so I said to her, she's a married woman now. She's been in a relationship with her husband for a very long time. She goes to church. She has a decent job. She's one of those women that everybody would classify as the good girl. But what a lot of people don't know is she did participate for a little bit of time because she was afraid she couldn't pay her rent. So she came to me and asked me, did I know any directors that will put her in film so she can make money? And she doesn't tell people that story. She doesn't tell people how she overcame from doing pornography to now being like this good girl image because she's afraid of people chastising her. I keep trying to tell people, women got a whole bunch of secrets. Women got things that we've done in the past that we're not necessarily telling people because we know we're going to be chastised for it. But one of the things that I do is that I'm always honest about where I stand in life. Like, I'm always the type of person to tell the stories, to tell the things that I've overcome, just so I can teach another human being, just so another human being can look at me and say, oh, she went through this, she made it through. Okay, she did this in her past, but now this is what she's doing now. That's why I tell my story the way that I do. And I'm the only person that's going to tell my story, or has the power to tell my story. Nobody else can, because it's mine. People can claim they're exposing me, and people can claim um, all types of just shit. But at the end of the day, the story is mine. The story is the truth, and it's only going to come from me. It can't come from anybody else. So I just feel like, as women, all of this stuff that we go through all of the time, we tell each other stuff a lot, but to openly say the mistakes that we made and the things that we've done that's not so necessarily as pleasant, or that aren't as positive, we don't want to share those stories because we're afraid that people will harm us, people will hurt us, people will chastise us. And don't nobody want to be chastised for something that they did in the past. People were chastising me about some shit I did 10 years ago. Literally 10 years ago, people was chastising me for it. And I was like, what the fuck? And I think it's been like 11 to 12 years now, but people still are chastised me about it. And I wasn't ashamed when I was doing it. So why be ashamed now of doing it? I wasn't ashamed then. So what's the point of being ashamed now? That's why I don't really, like, if people ask me questions about me being in the swingers lifestyle or me working at the escort service, that's why I'm so honest about it. Because I wasn't ashamed to do it when I did it. Even though now it's like I would never do that shit because I know better now. I know that, there's a different way to handle certain things, but I'm not going to be ashamed that I did it. And there's a lot of women out there that are ashamed of the things that they used to do. They're keeping a lot of secrets. They're doing a lot of lying. And I'm just not going to be that. What's that movie that Tyler Perry did with the woman who was married? Not Thou Art Lucen. That's T.D. Jakes. But it was another movie where the woman had a sex addiction. Oh no, I think it was a Zayn movie where the woman had a sex addiction and she was married. I don't know. Am I getting this right? She was married and she was a prostitute, and her husband didn't know that she was a prostitute in the past. And some of that past was coming to, her future. She was married and had kids. And her husband found out she was a prostitute. It wasn't that she had a sex addiction. I'm thinking that's a whole nother movie. The sex addiction with Zayn. That's another movie. But this movie that I'm talking about, I think it was a Tyler Perry movie. And it was the movie where the woman who was in, remember Why Did I Get Married? Remember the woman that was Tyler Perry's wife, right? Remember her? She was in both of these movies. That movie about Zayn, and this movie I'm talking about where she was a prostitute. I think her husband was Blair Underwood. Anyway, she had been hiding, her past, and her husband had no idea who she used to be. And it's a lot of women out there that's like that. And a lot of men don't want to accept that, but it's a lot of women out here that's like that. They hiding stuff that they did. They don't hide had a whole bunch of sex partners, drug abuse, prostitution, pornography. It's women out here, they're hiding all that. You know, Off the grid, am I dating anyone new? I decided to start dating someone, but I'm not dating anybody serious. I went on my first date a couple of days ago. No, I don't see myself having any children. You see how people can't follow instructions, Mark? Show enough. Who else is my moderator up in here? Mr. Live, Nikita. You see how these people can't stay on topic? Did I say stay on topic? Anyway, I'm about to go anyway. So am I dating someone? Anyone new? No. I just went on a date for the first time in a long time. Like, I tried to date someone maybe like a year ago or a couple of months ago. I tried to take it serious, but we couldn't even get past the just hanging out with each other, because we were hanging out with each other and not classifying it as a date, because it wasn't really a date, you know, it was just us hanging out with each other. But I went on my first date with just a guy, like I met here the other day, and I'm not gonna go on another date with him. I got my reasons why I'm not gonna go on another date with him. But a lot of guys are asking me out right now. I think honestly, I feel like by this time next year I'll be in a committed relationship with somebody. I'm not gonna have any more kids. That's it. Justice is it. I'm not having any more children, and I'm not getting married. Definitely not getting married. I wanted to marry Priest, of course, and before him, I didn't want to get married. And I don't think I'm gonna meet another guy and suddenly feel like I'm gonna want to marry him. Nah. To me, Priest was my spiritual husband. I was connected to him in spirit, and it's almost like when we broke up, it feels like my partner died, because the person that he was depicting himself to be in our spiritual marriage wasn't real. It was just a person that he pretended to be for me. So I feel like that person wasn't real. You know what I mean? Like, it was a fictional character. It wasn't real. So it feels like that person died. You know what I mean? Because it's not a person I can get back. It's not a person that was real at all. So it just kind of feels like death. Like my partner died, or like my husband died. Understand? That's the only thing I could use to describe it. It's like my husband died. That's all. That's the only way I can. You know, when people ask me why I hadn't been on a date in 2 years, like why hadn't I been on a real date for 2 years? Men ask me that all the time. Now that I'm starting to date again, and I said to them, you know, I just feel like I was in a divorce. It's different when you just seeing somebody and y'all decide to stop seeing each other, versus you in a committed relationship. Y'all have a kid together. Y'all talking about marriage. Y'all living together. The things that me and my son's father went through together, it kind of it created a sense of loyalty. I was very faithful to him. I cared about him deeply. So it's just different. Like I just feel like my partner died. That's all I can say. I just feel like he's dead to me. I don't know. I just only way I can describe it. So anyway, I appreciate y'all watching. Have vision and stay focused, y'all. Namaste.